Welcome to Pure Entropy, a podcast presented to you by Entropy Studios. This podcast aims to unlock the mysteries of life and take you on a mind-expanding journey. So I'm going to let him tell about himself rather than me explaining.
So, hello, I'm Shlok Chauhan. I am actually one of the people who, I guess, not like started the podcast, but like was part of the introductory planning committee, which was
a
just
board member.
Yeah, I was a former board member, but due to my prior commitments, i.e. going to college, I decided to submit full control to Mr. Chauhan. But yeah, I am obviously his younger brother. I go to school at Lava. I go to school in Kansas City, Missouri, at a school called UMKC for their 6-year medical program, because why else would anyone go to Kansas City?
Go for Chiefs.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I do get it. So honestly, a huge upgrade compared to the Texans, which are kind of like a forgotten team, to be honest. Off topic, but yes, that's me. And yeah, as you can see, I spend most of my time that I don't have to study or tutor playing Minecraft because I have not grown up at all. And yeah, I feel like every intricate thing about my voice and or my throat will be like broadcasted or something. Like if I'm just like making a swallowing sound, it's going to be like super like loud or something. Exactly. Or the clickety clack of the keyboard and the mouse. So hopefully it's not an issue, but that's what video editing or audio editing is for.
This will be also a test for Adobe Podcast, not sponsored, but they can definitely sponsor us at So we'll test their noise canceling tool, which is pretty good because you can have a vacuum cleaner on and still record your podcast. But yeah, in this episode, we just wanted to make a quick and short episode to get some reflections and insights on what the first year has been like and what the medical school program is, if anybody else is going to be interested, because it's not, there are less now, I think. You can correct me.
What do you mean less?
Like overall, the programs are less than before?
Oh yeah, the UMKC is one of the only, it's either UMKC or Howard, and Howard is Howard Stark. Yeah, so most people are going to apply to UMKC, I think, and because it's like the oldest 6-year, I think, one of the only like 6-year programs. All the other programs are like 7-year, or they have some like weird conditional acceptance, or like you're accepted into med school, but low-key not really, because you have to like take the MCAT still. But I don't take the MCAT, which is probably going to come to the envy of every student who's applying to a medical school, but that's not my problem. Yeah. So I guess if you want me to just kind of jump into like the school kind of.
Yeah, how did you find out about the school?
Oh yeah. So I was always like flippity flop between my two kind of like up until like 10th grade, I'd say. It was always between medicine, engineering, and computer science, the three most default pathways for a brown Indian male like myself. And so I decided to be a little bit, I guess, I don't know, more or less basic and go for medicine, because I realized that engineering, I don't have the aptitude in math or physics. In fact, it's like the two things I suck at the most. So I was like, I'm definitely going to kill someone by making like a faulty bridge if I go into engineering. So I decided not to do that. And then computer science, after taking like 2 or 3 coding classes, I'm like, wow, this is so not for me. As my friends can attest, I basically like used their code half the time, because it was online school. I mean, everybody did it. So yeah, I decided medicine. And then I mean, obviously like medicine, the biggest kind of hurdle other than, grades and all that stuff is the timing and logistics of it. Like it takes literally like eons and eons to get out of medical school and then get out of residency, and also like undergrad, and then, factor in debt and all that stuff. So the aim of the game was always like, can I do medicine in a more or less efficient manner than like what the path is like set out to normally be? And that's how I kind of arrived at accelerated medical programs that my college advisor kind of told me about. Shout out Ivy planners. But yeah, they helped kind of like show me that there's a world of like accelerated medical programs that are out there, and UMKC is the fastest one, being 6 years, and there's no MCAT. The caveat is you go to UMKC, which is not like a renowned state school. In fact, it's like mostly like a commuter school, so most people aren't really on campus, and it's a really tiny campus. Dorms are like livable for the most part. The food isn't really great, but that's, typical college life unless you go to like UCLA. So yeah, I mean, that's how I found out about the program. And then I obviously applied to that and like 11 other schools, and luckily I was able to get an interview back with them. Did the interview, Didn't hear anything for a little bit, and then one day while at the island counter with like some friends or something, I get the email that I'm in, and I was like, oh God, I have to actually leave and go to Missouri. Because up until that point, I was so ready to go to UT Austin. I was like thinking about like housing with like some of my friends, and then suddenly, lol, we're going to UT, or I'm going to Missouri. JK, you guys got it. And then, yeah.
Like JK.
I'm like, oh, just kidding. I don't need the housing contract. I'm leaving. And yeah, so that's how I found out about it. Nothing crazy. Literally just brainlessly did the application process, and somehow they made the mistake of letting me in. So yeah.
They were like, all right, we'll keep him.
Yeah, well, hopefully, yeah. I mean, I haven't got kicked out yet, so I think I'm fine, hopefully.
So what, and like a normal undergrad, because it's 4 and 4, how is the kind of like the program structured with it? I know it's like 6 years, but for people who don't know, like how are the classes split? What is the first, kind of the first month like? How was that?
Yeah, so the first year is, I'm running into fire, sorry. But yes, first year is, or I guess the first 2 years are like technically your undergrad years, because like after you finish your second year, you get your white coat, which is like you officially entering med school, and then you get like your medical school rotations, like you get like, green group, red group, all that stuff. But the first 2 years, you're getting a lot of your gen eds out of the way. So like, you do a generic anatomy course. It is a BA MD program, so a Bachelor in Arts. You don't get a Bachelor of Science, but I mean, when you get an MD, you could get a Bachelor of like, I don't know, nothing. So it doesn't really matter. But yeah, like I'm doing a Bachelor of Liberal Arts with a chem minor, and then the other option is a Bachelor of, I think you can get like a minor like biology, or you can get like a bio bachelor's. I don't really know, but chem seemed like the easiest one. That's what I qualified for, so I went for it. So like you do your gen ed classes, you do your chem and bio classes. You do have summer classes, so you don't really get like that big of a break. I mean, but you are skipping 2 years, so it's kind of expected to kind of have a cram schedule. Like my break was 2 weeks at the beginning of summer, and then school for I think 6 or 8 weeks, and then about 2 to 3 weeks of break at the end of that. But after your second year, which is the hardest year arguably, because you have like really the difficult like physiology and anatomy and biochem classes. After that, you are doing rotations with like a group of like students, and you're assigned to hospitals, because there's a lot of like good hospitals in Kansas City and the surrounding Kansas area, like the suburbs. And then yeah, you just do rotations there. You still take some like classes like I don't remember pathology and like stuff like that, like other like typical medical school classes. And yeah, it's a really fun program. You meet a lot of people, and the nice thing about like, it's not like split up too heavily. So like you still interact with upper years and lower years. Like some of my really good friends are second, third, fourth years, and they're like ahead of me and all that stuff. But because like the program is not like too heavily split, you can still kind of like make friends in grades above you and below you.
Does it help are most of the friends or people you meet in the program usually?
Yeah, like that is one thing. Like the school is mostly just known for the program, to be honest, and maybe like the pre-law and pre-dental. I'm not too sure about that stuff, but like that is like what kind of got them really, I guess, famous in a way. So like that's really most of like what the people there are. Like you're not gonna really become friends with people who aren't really that, because it's just not common to kind of interact with them as much and hang out with them that much. Which I mean, I'm not really like crying about. I'm fine. I meet enough people, and I'm happy with the people I meet like regularly. I'm not like really yearning to meet some like a computer science major or a business major or anything. Like I have friends who are not going to that school, like in UT Austin, who cover those bases, so I'm okay. But yeah, it is like kind of I'd say almost uncommon to like meet and become friends with people who aren't part of the program, because that's really the majority of like the reason people even go to that program from like different states and all that stuff. Like most people don't go to there for their undergrad and like a regular thing. They go there for their medicine, like either be it 6 years or be it the regular 8 years.
So it becomes it's like a specialized school, basically.
Yeah, like honestly, the school is like mostly known for that. And I mean, if you go there without that being like your reason, like no shame, that's fine. Obviously, I think it's becoming a little bit more apparent nowadays that like where you go to college is not like an end all be all at all. So you're fine. But yeah, it's just not like, I guess, catered towards a diverse kind of like major. Most of the kids are going to be medical students there.
So I feel like some people, well, I don't think we have this challenge. Usually we can just like make friends easily, even if we don't know people. Or it doesn't take that long. I think what you just said, but a lot of people I know like they don't. So did you meet people like that, and like how, or did the people help them kind of like break out of their shell, or they're still trying to, or did they do something different? What would be like any advice or something you've seen for people who might have that type of personality?
So I don't consider myself like I used to consider myself introverted, but I quickly was pointed out that I'm like very much not. Now I'm like, okay, that makes more sense, to be honest. But like, I did have this fear. I think everybody really has this fear whenever they go into college, is like, oh God, I'm not going to have any friends, yada, 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 stuff like that. Cause like especially if you're like moving out of like the normal area that you reside, you are basically more or less taking like a huge risk, like leaving everything that you already have like set behind. But like like that kind of fear is so normal and natural, and honestly, like probably a good thing, to be honest, because that means that you have like something really valuable like at home. And the way that I kind of combated that, obviously, like the first night, that was terrible. Like I literally just stayed in my room, and I was like, damn, like this is gonna be it. And obviously, it's of course way too early to judge. First night, literally nothing is the same in college. Like stuff goes by super quickly, or like super slowly. Time is weird. But anyways, yeah, the way that I was able to really branch out is just by like kind of like everybody's kind of eager to meet people in college, which is a good thing. It's not like people are already trying to find their like niches and cliques and all that stuff like the first day in. No, like people are branching out.
Eventually.
Yeah, eventually it'll be like genuine like social groups, and it'll model like the real world. But until like the first couple of weeks, like you for sure have the ability to climb like any class ladder you want. And like if you want to make friends with that random group of people over there, you literally just go for it. 9 out of 10 times they'd be like, yo, what's up? And then they're like start talking to you, and bam. I will say for guys, it's probably a bit different because we are like very simple beings. It's not like we have much going on anyway, so it doesn't take like a whole committee meeting for you to become our friend. We literally just say like, what's up to you like 3 or 4 times, and bam, like you're one of the people that we know the best. And I feel like that's kind of what happened with my friends. Like I just talked to them a couple of times and then like started hanging out with them almost every day. Like it was not really like that big of a deal. It was literally just like, okay, like I live next to them. They're saying like, yo, I'm going to go to the library to study, or like, yo, I'm going to go to the cafe to get food. You want to come with? And I'm like, sure. Bam, friends. And then it's that simple. You just kind of explore the school, do mundane activities together. You like talk to the person next to you in class, get their name. Like it's very simple. And it's a bit of a courageous move if you're definitely not like that extroverted type of person. Again, very much fine. But you do have to kind of like understand that if you're going to be super scared about not having friends, they're not going to come to you. Like they're not going to magically be like, oh, let's go like chase that person there until they become our friend. No, you have to like put in a little bit of the work and the effort to get some friends. And yeah, it'll happen really easily because everybody wants to kind of meet people in college. So it's kind of playing into your favor, even if you are not that social of a person.
I feel like some people still be like, no, I need to go study, or like I need to go prep for this, even though it's first year. Or there are like people.
Oh yeah, there's the group of, I'm not gonna say nerds, but like, like the people who I don't think I've seen them outside of like a school setting, to be honest, which is fine. Again, if that's you go for it. You're probably going to get better grades than me, so it's fine. But like, I do remember a lot of people being very, very worried about the first year in general. And it's a valid concern because college is different. It's a lot more fast paced. There's no one looking out for you. Your teacher's not sending reminders that, hey, we have homework due tonight. It's going to be you who has to figure that out yourself. And, the ever important syllabus that tells you everything you need to know about the course in like a 12-page document. And then if you mess that up, you're done for. So it's understandable that these people were very like kind of guarded about school and were taking it very seriously. But I do think that like, especially when it comes to medicine, your fun years are now. And if you like, once med school starts, and honestly, once second year starts, like it's low-key kind of like hell. Like it is a lot of work and you have to be prepared like mentally to tackle that. But if you are going to burn yourself out already, like in your first year, when the hardest thing you have to do is juggle like 2 or 3 gen eds, then I just feel like that burnout is going to happen a lot more quicker, and that's just going to cause a lot of problems. So like, that's why I personally just try to stay relaxed, try to meet people and like enjoy myself a little bit, because I know that there's going to be a time where I have to work a lot, and I do not want to have to like, I don't want to be miserable like right off the bat. So, but yeah, of course, there's going to be people who are very serious about it, and they like don't want to, the test might be like weeks away, and they're already like, no, I got to go study. I can't hang out today. And like, you just kind of got to be like, okay, and then move on. There's no point in like try to convince them of otherwise, because they're clearly very strong-minded in their like what they want to do, and you kind of got to respect them for that. There's plenty of people in college, even in a class, even though my class size is like only 100 people, there's still that's still a lot of people. Like there's still a lot of people to go hang out with and all that stuff. So you just kind of got to move on and like kind of focus on yourself, because if you're gonna get stressed about like what other people are and like who they are already, then you're just gonna be putting yourself in like a world of misery and a lot of stress. Unnecessary.
Dang. Yeah. I feel like 100 people is almost how many, or a little more, came to DDCon. So seeing
Yeah, like
100 people, it seems small, but actually when you see them, you're like, wow.
No, it's you put them all in a room and you're like, wow, that's a lot of people. And then like, but in reality, yeah, it doesn't feel like for a class size, like, you know, when some colleges are admitting like 10,000 students, you know, for a year, we have 120 and there's only like 30 guys or something like that, then like that's actually not that much. But like once you actually like kind of, I don't know, like spend some time and get to know people and you enter your own little clique, you're going to be like, wait, that person goes here? Like, oh my goodness, I don't know that, like, yeah, you like find out like, wow, this actually is a massive class because I don't know some of these people. But that's just kind of how it goes. But yeah, it's fine.
Is the gender distribution usually like the way, like less amount of guys versus girls?
Yeah, I don't.
Overall, or
So
just like you're.
some of the up years are saying that like in this class, it's never been like that before. But
Oh, interesting.
like the admissions officers were like, yeah, like it's kind of, we're seeing this trend, and I think it's like accurate with like trends nowadays where guys are just more like or less likely to like go to college or go to a higher level type of education than girls. I'm not sure if that's like a genuine statistic or not, but it definitely feels that way considering that our class is like 80-20, like girls and guys respectively. So yeah, like it was kind of a surprising difference because I was like, why? I mean, I went to a school that had like 800 people, so like it's not like I noticed a gender imbalance. I was like, yeah, these are just people. Like, what about it? But now that it is only 120 of us in the class, and like just my friend group is like half girls, and which was not what I had in like high school. In high school, it was like a couple girls and mostly guys, because that's kind of, I mean, that's I figure how guy friend groups used to work, anyways.
Well, that's fun though. What is the other side now having more girl?
I mean, I mean, the implication is very like clear. Like it can be fun if you are that type of person. I, for one, do not have I'm not built for that. So I was just like, okay, that's cool. And then I just became friends with these people, and they're amazing people, so I don't mind it. But
Are there more conflicts or less?
There's, I feel like no matter what, there's just a crazy amount of conflicts. That's like the one thing that has probably been the craziest thing to me is people are just like weird. Like people are just not normal. And I don't know if that's like this program thing or if it's like, you know, medicine, because I feel like you got to be a little bit crazy to do medicine, especially if you're going to sign away 6 years of your life, like right off the bat for medicine. Like, yeah, you definitely, something happened probably. But yeah, that's probably the only qualm I really have about the school is the fact that, which has nothing to do with the school, to be honest, it's just the class that I got, is that some of the people are like crazy. Like they are pathological liars, or they are just like not nice people. They say mean things. They believe the like terrible things, and so on and so forth. But I mean, you kind of find out like relatively quickly who is who. And if you don't find out quickly, you find it the hard way, which I did find out for about some people. But like more or less, you know, again, you live. It's fine. It's not that big of a deal. So yeah, like once you kind of find your group of people, you stick to it pretty well. And I think that just kind of goes for almost any college, not just like my UMKC. But yeah, I think I found my group of people, so I'm chilling. But like that first semester was definitely a process of elimination of like who is not gonna melt my brains in like 30 to 45 minutes and who is. And I think I found the people who don't. So
it was trial by fire.
It was genuinely, it was like a Hunger Games or something. It was crazy. Like you literally just like, okay, this person seems cool, and then like someone's like, yo, I heard they said this thing, and I was like, what? And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not gonna hang out with them.
But then it's like, what if the other person's just saying that thing?
Oh yeah, that's another thing. That's like then figuring out who is the crazy one. You can have two people saying the exact opposite things, and it becomes a game of like detective. And then I'm just like, do people not have other things to do? Like, I'm sorry, if you feel frustrated, like, don't take it out on like telling me like a story of you like, I don't know, that you fabricated. Like, go do something. To go like yoga or like to get a massage. I don't know. But anyways, that's not my business. Yeah, that's just.
Yeah, did you join any like extracurricular activities since the first year is like relatively more relaxed compared to what's to come?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I joined the UMKC Chakra. That's the main thing that's kind of taken on my life recently. And I love it. It's like even though I do get stressed about it like every living moment, it's like the stress that I'm fine with. I did robotics, and I honestly feel like it's similar to that, except I'm not like killing my hands and like trying to engineer things.
Or just killing your ankles.
I'm killing my ankles and my knees and all that stuff. So I like it a lot. Like it's just a fun. You just meet a lot of people. Like that's probably the biggest thing that you like really kind of need is like a stress reliever or something to take your mind off school, because again, it's medical school. You're in it for the long con. And once you're done with 6-year program, once you're done with 6 years, you have anywhere from 3 to 8 years of residency. And if you get tired of medicine early on, you're finished. Like that's going to be really, really bad. So having having something that's not like having to do anything with, medicine, and is just something extracurricular, and also the fact that it keeps me exercise and gave me a new skill to learn, like that was a huge benefits that I was not really expecting when I first kind of joined. And I didn't even join right away. Like I joined after they had their first round auditions, after a couple, like I think a month or something, because they had like literally 3 guys on the team or something like that. Or aside from the 6 years who were going to graduate, they had like 3 guys on the team. So they were like, yo, can we get some more guys on the team? A friend of mine, Toy, and I were contacted, and then they were like, yeah, try out. My video was absolutely like horrendous, genuinely like a disgusting thing to watch. But I guess I showed potential and teachability, and like that I was willing to put in the work. And then they were like, yeah, we'll take you. Huge risk, by the way. But, I think it paid off because I was able to work my way up to a captain just because I really cared about getting better. Like it's a skill that I don't want to be bad at. I just personally don't like being bad at team sports.
You were the Manu Ginobili. They found you in the second draft.
Oh, yeah. I completely, except I hope I don't go bald or something. But anyways, yeah, it was just really fun. And I highly recommend, like, of course, the DDN circuit, Sid, you also were a part of it. So, like, it's a very fun circuit.
That's like a whole other...
honestly, that should be another episode, yeah. Like 2-hour special of just DDN stories. But regardless, yeah, a very fun circuit. Even if you're not, like, a brown person, you can find a lot of enjoyment. Like my roommate and one of my good friends, Brody, he's white, and he joined on the team before me, in fact, and he's the reason I kind of got in on the team. And yeah, he goes crazy with the Bollywood dance. So honestly, yeah, it's just a very fun experience. It gave like a group of friends like a second home, like a genuine like team to kind of be a part of, which is something that I had in high school and I really missed. So this kind of fixed that, and also some skill to kind of like when I want to relax and not do anything school based, I can maybe just go learn a dance that I like, listen to some like of the music that I really like from there. And just meet a lot of cool people, like a lot of the up years who've become one of my some of my great friends, and also give like a really, really like necessary and helpful advice for the other years of school, and like resources they come from because I met them from Chakra. So yeah, that's probably one of the better decisions I made while in college.
Yeah, I think it helps because you're not directly asking them like, oh, I need advice on this. It's more like, oh, how's it going? How's your day? Let's, something else. And honestly, then they just give it by text.
Yeah, literally, they're like, okay, how's this going? And I'm like, oh, it's going good. And I'm like, all right, here's my like 12-page copy of it. I'm like, oh, okay, fine. I mean, if you insist, I'll take it.
Yeah, so definitely like, if it's not dance, do something that's different outside of school to keep you safe.
I also think that it'll help with like residency applications, because I know like applications, that's the last thing you should be worried about right now. I'm going into my second year. I have a lot of time, but like still, I mean, if I do this I plan on doing this for the rest of like school. So next 5 years, if I'm going to be on a consistent team and have a good like influence on the team, that just looks, just looks very good for like, the application. They can tell that you're committed. They know that you helped something out and you worked towards something. And yeah, I mean, our goal this year is Legends, which is a finale. We're only 3 years old as a team, and we made it to I think 16th or something in the country. And honestly, like, that's not that bad because we just really only messed up at one comp. Like, had we gotten good enough for that single comp to have gone our way, we would literally be in the top 10, which is kind of crazy to think about considering how young of a team we are. And like, I literally joined like midway through stuff. I had no idea what was happening. And I'm like, yeah, I got it. This looks cool. And then suddenly, bam, we're up with like people who are actually like been doing this for a while and stuff that like I grew up watching. And yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, usually the teams are 4 years, or not the team is, but the cycle of people goes 4 years. But I think that 6th year definitely helps. It's a like unique situation, but it's enough time that even if you're there for 4 years, you have 2 more years, so you're still invested rather than like, I'm trying to exit.
Yeah, like it's just like you have a bigger time to commit, also more time to be skilled. Like if I'm learning, I feel like I learned like relatively well in just a couple of months of dancing. It's like I practiced in my free time. I got videos and sent videos and got critiques back. And then I had a whole lot of progress, like just in the first couple months. And like, I'm like, wow, imagine doing this for a year or like multiple years. Then suddenly like the amount of progress you make is going to be huge. And yeah, so it's just like, you could also just get so good at the skill later on. So yeah, that's like one thing that I'm kind of looking forward to, just like my own personal growth, just being a part of the team.
How is the faculty? Are there like really good teachers, or some are okay, some are like, you gotta go to YouTube and for now at least get
So
this.
I think there's one thing that I've noticed, which is like kind of like a sidetrack from the question, is the fact that like I'm just a terrible student in the sense that like I've lost all my studying habits ever since COVID hit. Like 11th grade was genuinely like the most productive year I've had, followed by the most destructive year in terms of like study habits. Because now I'm the student that literally like study, like test is tomorrow. Oh damn, thanks for letting me know. And then I spend that day studying, and then I'll be fine. But like I sacrifice, like I feel like I sacrifice my life expectancy a little bit when I do that. And I just like, since 11th grade was a whole ordeal, but I still got through just fine and got good grades. 12th grade, I literally could not care less about school. I was out of there. I was literally just doing college applications and sweating robotics. And then I was okay again. I did pretty well. And I kept on going this cycle of like, wow, I put in almost no effort and I do fine. Maybe I'm a genius. Spoiler, I'm not at all. And I just literally get lucky, or like things just work out because I like sacrifice my life for it. And then, yeah, so like now I basically like half go to classes, like depends on if the timing is fine. Like I cannot wake up early at all, like $100, and then I'll wake up early. But if not, then I'm going to try to sleep until it becomes PM, and then I'll try to wake up. Like it's bad. But in terms of teachers, like they're really laxed. Like it's college, you know, if a teacher ever tells you this stuff will not fly in college, it probably will fly in college, because they're grown people, you're grown people. They're not going to be like babysitting you. And if they are, then that's just kind of silly of them, because I don't think anyone expects that kind of behavior. But the teachers are fine. I wouldn't say that there's really been any bad teachers, but I don't think I've been to enough lectures of most teachers to like really have a good opinion of them. Because if I'm in the lecture hall, I'm not paying attention. Other than organic chemistry, which is probably the best teacher that I've had recently. And like, I feel like he could be one of the teachers who, if he was teaching a different class, I'd pay attention in that class too. Because he just had a way of like going completely off the cuff, but still spewing like a genius. And he was just,
yeah, this is like rare.
he just, you know, he's a rare teacher that like, he didn't have to like do anything, yell, get your attention. He just kind of had it. He just kept going. Like literally just taught and then left. Like no BS, no nothing, nothing extra. And I really like that about, like, I just liked that about the teacher. He was just he was nice. He seemed very sweet, but like he didn't really, you know, mess around. He just kind of taught and then was done when he's done.
That's how I had the physics teacher. That first time, well, I don't want to say who the bad teacher was, but it was the first year, so still maybe, you know. I was like, I hate physics. But then second year I had like this known teacher who was like everyone's friend, but somehow it was just amazing. So I would always hear about it. And then I got him for physics too. And then I took physics calculus based because he was so good. It was exactly like the guy you were talking about chemistry. He was like, he didn't waste time, but when he talked, it was just like sweet and nice. But then he made jokes and it wasn't like cringe at all. It was like, that makes sense to the topic and applies.
Yeah, like there's, I don't know, just like, these are like, they seem like real people. Like they'll have like likable portions to them and all that stuff. That's all like you really need. You just need to be like not a bot. Like really just kind of, you understand your audience. Your audience is students. Like you don't need to be a PhD in like I don't know, psychology to understand what makes a student tick, what makes a student kind of like pay attention to all that stuff. And he just kind of like he literally just cut out all the extra stuff. And then he was like, all right, here's what you need to know for the test. Here's some practice questions, a practice test that will look exactly like the real test, except the values will be different. So you know exactly what to do on the test. And then, yeah, so he was like an amazing teacher. And I really wish I had him for more than just more than just one class, but you get what you get, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. One, kind of like wrapping it up, what would be the worst thing to do as like a first year who comes in as from out of state? Because I know you mentioned like things that you can do, but just maybe even like specifically saying, which is this is like what not to do path, and hearing it might be helpful for people.
I think be genuine, but be guarded. So like, as I said,
that's the worst thing.
No, that's like what you should do. So what I guess what not to do is, if you're out of state, I like wrestle with this a little bit, and like I thought about this just because, or I thought about the fact that like this is plausible or like a possibility. The fact that like since you're out of state, no one like knows anything about you. So in theory, you could completely like you can almost like reinvent yourself, which is a good power and also a bad power if you use it in a bad way. So like what I mean by that is no one knows who like anything about like who my friends are, this, that, all that stuff. I could literally like fabricate stuff all I want, and there's almost no way of fact checking. But it catches up to you. Like like people who like lie all the time egregiously, it just like it gets picked apart because the people you're with are not stupid. Like they understand things. They're in the program that's selective for a reason. They're not just gonna like literally let you walk over them and all that stuff. And also they're not gonna buy a bunch of like crap. So that's kind of like one thing that I've heard people like be like, oh my God, like, you know, like no one's gonna know anything about me. I can like finally like just be whoever I want to be. What they could also mean is I can finally be like what I want people to see me as, which kind of ties into the movie we watched yesterday. But like, yeah, you just have to like remember that you're not dealing with stupid people, and also like these people you're gonna be with for the next 6 years, right? If you make enemies your first year or like your first week, you're literally screwing yourself over, because not only are you making it hard to get friends, which if that's already an issue in the first place, you just made it harder. But secondly, like these people you're gonna like, you're not gonna like just say bye to them after like a year or something. No, they're gonna be there for rotations. You might get paired up with them in like a unit. So you can't like, you know, you can't like disrespect anyone. You can't, you know, say bad things about someone. You have to be kind of nice. You have to be just a good person, really. But trying to like overdo it with the whole like being cool and this and that, being mysterious, that's not gonna work out for you. And also, as college, I think it goes without saying, like you're of course without supervision, you have access to things that you previously may not have had access to before. I think the biggest thing that I know, like Sid warned me about this, was just people who are now getting their first taste of freedom. They go absolutely bonkers, and they start like they don't understand their limits for things. They literally just do like X, Y, Z, A, B, C all the time. Then they regret it, and they make stupid decisions. This could be like the sweetest people you know. Suddenly they get like a taste of alcohol, and then they're like doing, you know, they're doing crazy things. They're talking like with people they would never talk to. They're kind of just like acting dumb. I just say like that's one thing to be careful of, because it's like a reality. Like, yeah, even if you're like, I would never do that stuff, either you're not going to be the one doing it, or you might do it, or I like guarantee you're going to get exposed to it somehow. Like the person next to you could be doing it, and you have to be smart. You have to be on guard, but you can't like bully them for their choices, because it's their choices. It's like you have no influence on their life. You just kind of gotta be like, okay, you can do that. Me personally, I'm gonna stay away from it, but you know, if you need anything, let me know. I got you. Just be nice. Like, know yourself. Only experiment and try new things in like very, very closed environments, and then just be a nice person overall, because you're gonna be with these people for a while. You don't want to get on anyone's bad side early on, and obviously, the more friends you have, the more resources you have. It's just better for everyone involved.
Yeah, I would tell you can't just like say you did something and then use the excuse of like, oh, but I was, you know, in that state, or like, because after a certain time that also becomes old, and then
Yeah, no, like you can't just be like, oh, I was on this. No. It
after
came
a
from
while,
somewhere.
that's enough of that excuse.
Yeah, once, sure. Like, oh, if you were literally like you could not remember what even happened, yeah, that's fine. You know, that happens. Everybody has those moments. But like, you can't just be like, oh, no, I would never say that. I was only this. Like, it came from somewhere. Like, your brain truly thought it. It's not like what you drank suddenly made you think differently. No. So, yeah. But
Yeah, it's good. All right, we have last 2 rapid fire questions where you can only get 1 word or 1 sentence answer, but no further explanations.
damn. Okay.
Okay, so first one is, what is one thing the world needs more of?
Empathy.
Okay. Then the next one is, what is the worst advice you've ever had?
Shoot. Oh.
Or is it even the good advice they meant in a good way, but when you heard it, you were like,
Worst advice that has been detrimental to me: if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
you could have put in so many things.
Yeah, it does not help them.
All right, and the final one, and then we'll be wrapped up for this podcast episode, but there'll be more ones in the future where we'll dive into further topics about the program or just in general, different interests. But it is, if there was one law in the world, what would that be that you would want to add?
One law in the world. Oh God.
I can give you an example.
Yeah. What are some responses that people have had?
The people I read Justin Gavin for Travel World Culture did shows that people should disembark the plane by their rows because that's how they should get on too. Because otherwise, people still shove and push, like they're gonna miss. Like obviously, if your flight is like gonna go and you are the connection, then you're given the exception. But otherwise, it's like if everybody knew that this law too.
You know what? I know my law. Make lobbying illegal.
Oh my God.
In any country in the world, money should not buy you power. That's it. In government, at least.
Yeah, that actually good one.
Like there.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for being on this podcast, and we hope everybody found this useful. And see you in the next one.
Bye.
You've been listening to Pure Entropy. Thanks for listening to this podcast. It really means a lot. I appreciate all the time. Take it out of your day to give it a listen. If you'd like to support further, you can do so by leaving us a review on your favorite podcasting platform of choice. See you in the next one.